Hello and welcome to the stream. If you're watching this in the future, today's stream will be a somewhat slow stream since I've had a rough night's sleep and yeah, I've been at work all day, so I'll probably end the stream early as well as a fumble a bit around when I do stuff here, um, since I'm pretty exhausted. But I wanted to do a stream nonetheless. Um, yeah, let's see. So we will just see how everything goes since, yeah, the energy isn't as high as I could wish for. Um, yeah, it is what it is. Let's see. Let me close this. Okay, and this should be set up as well, I think. Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? I think we are all right. Okay. So what do I need to do? I need to do something in terms of this level editor here. On the to-do list. Inside here we have the last UI work that I really need to do. Haven't we done most of the cleanup? I guess. We need to prioritize this. Since, for instance, we want to be able to create a series of text fields that are on the same line. We could do a flag where whenever we change the draw cursor here, inside this function here. I mean, sometimes we want to add to the X. Sometimes we want to add to the Y. We could use our frame data for that. Windows frame data. Start position, position, and max position. Yeah, so imagine We could simply add a bool here. Where we do a simple check. We could do something like a call to the, let me close this, we don't need it. So inside our UI, this is object picking. Let's see, object picking. This should probably be moved after we recorded our window. Um, yeah, let's do that. Let's move it down here. So we actually have a window that we can poll for whether we are hovering the window. So we can do a check whether we are actually clicking on the window or clicking on the scene instead. Um, um, Also, let's add this condition actually outside here because we don't need to create the button itself if we do not have something selected, then we can't delete it, of course. List of static objects. Mesh texture and mesh material and texture editing. Picked objects, selection color. In the future should compute a blended texture of the original texture and a highlight texture. Right now it's just white. Clean up on exit editor mode. Okay, so down here we could do something like a sort of group of text fields. Let's see, IE, X, Y, Z, editing. So in order to allow us to group something inside our UI, we need to manipulate this thing here. And we have access to our current window, which means that we would have access to some frame data. We could, I mean, let's just write some pseudo code here. If bool same line equals false, if same line, then we do something like this plus size x, and then we simply set this to, well, we actually don't need to do this computation, but yeah. We don't need to update the Y component. Else we do something like this. Yeah, I'm not sure that we need this comparison here. Let's just try setting the line height here. And then we would add something like this and add something like this. But this would not be changed. Could that work? Could that work? Could that work? Maybe that could work. Okay. So inside our window frame data. Let's see if we bool, let's see, same line equals false, which means that whenever we set it to null, it will always be in that state. If window frame data same line. Okay, let's try this as a solution. I mean, we could, since we check for whatever value is higher, if we manipulate the X version, it will obviously be higher. Let's see. So everything still works. But if we add a function here, it will just be a wrapper where it's obvious what we do. So we could static void Same line, and we want to pass in our p context here. And start in same line. We could do something like this. Can we ask IntelliSense to actually create it? IntelliSense didn't give up, I guess. Huh? Start same line. And same line. Yeah, IntelliSense is really slow on this header and CPP file. Current window. Dot frame data dot same line equals true. I mean, this is just a basic wrapper. And false. Okay. We could do something like this. I mean, you could do it verbosely, but it's fine to abstract it away, and maybe we want to do a different kind of implementation later down the line. So at least, oh, that's the UI. I was considering doing this. Okay, so UI system, start same line, MP editor context, and then UI system, and same line, MP editor context. So everything done in here should be the same line. Test field 1, and then a test field 2. Let's see. I didn't spell it correctly, but that doesn't matter. Okay, as we can see here, everything is actually drawn beside each other. There's no clipping since the clipping itself is not handled, I think. Is it? Well, I actually think the clipping could is working quite all right because the whole system works around whether this thing is just overlapping with this rectangle here. That also is the reason why the scroll bar here actually overflows a bit, because we have not implemented any clipping of the actual objects themselves. We could implement a kind of clipping rect here, where we inside, let's see, the UI here, render UI. In this function, we have recreated it and freed up some CPU power by letting the renderer clip everything for us, meaning that we could use this to clip whatever we want. We basically clip by editing the width and height, and of course the X and Y positions, and also the texture sampling itself. So it would be possible to do a clipping of, for one, the text, and secondly, the rectangles that are the primitives inside the UI. We could do that. I'm not sure that I care enough about actually, what do you call it? Yeah, getting the clipping to be 100% elegant. I just want something that works right now. I can always do something that looks more pretty, but that's not a priority right now. So let's see, let's keep this one and then create a text field number 3, and that should be rendered to the next line. Well, it doesn't reset the, let's see, the rendering process, and I know why immediately. It's because we do not actually, this should be for multiple objects. It should be the cursor position plus the size X here. And this should be equals std floor. It's not gonna need a floor, I think, but we could do it. No, window here, frame data. No, oh, okay. We could do something like cursor start position.x, which would reset it, but this might be faulty if we suddenly make drawers that are indented for some reason. So this will work because we have no X-based scaling, right? So let's see, test field number 3. Everything still renders correctly, I guess. But text field number 3 didn't get added. 1, 2. Well, do we actually set the start position inside our record window here? Record window. It's down here. Oh, this is the text field. That's not what I'm looking for. Cursor start position. Actually, it gets copied here. Ah, now that's peculiar. Because let's see what happens. Oh, I've actually ended the recording of the window. Does that make a difference? It might. Well, no, that wasn't the thing that made the difference. Okay, let's see if I do another one here. happens. Number 4 does get written. Okay. Yeah, so we don't update the Y position, of course. Okay. Yeah, so the Y position doesn't get added. Yeah, so we actually need some kind of like previous line height. Kind of function here. Let's set a float, previous line height. And then we set our window frame data previous line height equal to okay, we need to update our previous line height here to our cursor position Y. Because then we store what the cursor was set at our previous line, meaning that the first time this gets called, the previous line height will be equal to this. Let's wait a minute. Let's think. So if it's the same line, but it is the first time, maybe we want to do a check here. If our Y position, no, maybe we just want, yeah, maybe we want something. We could easily just do something like this. Yeah, so now we have test field 1 and 2, or 2 and 3 together. Yeah, that doesn't seem logical. So whenever this is set, I can't think straight. Um, we have this condition no matter what. Well, how do we increment that? Hello, buddy. How are you doing? I'm doing all right. I'm pretty tired. I'm pretty tired. Didn't sleep well last night, and yeah, I've been at work also, so there's that. Wow, that's pretty advanced stuff. I take it that you got your UI situation solved. What does halfway done mean? Yeah? Could you be specific? Oh, okay. Did OpenGL help you out with the creation of the UI? Oh, that's great to hear, man. Let's see. Nobody came? Where to, buddy? Oh, well, it's Friday. Uh, so, people don't usually join on Fridays. Let's see. If we haven't set a previous line height, we increase the line height and store the information. Otherwise, we have a previous line height and we won't do it for the same line. If we ever happen to be in a state where we aren't as on the same line, we make sure that this flex our value gets set to 0. Let's see. Okay. It's not working entirely as I expected here. One is still gone. Okay, so I'm probably doing something wrong here. Mm. Oh, I'm doing this wrong. No, no, uh, I mean, for some reason, these two, 1 and 2, should be on the same line. So 1, 2, but they aren't. Let's see. Without this code here, 1 and 2 should be fine. Right. Yeah, 1 and 2 is on the Oh, okay. Maybe we simply do something like previous line height equals this. We simply store the data here and then we add it and then reset it. Maybe this is faster. Okay, so, well, something is messing up here. Uh, Uh, Usually it should be 0. I mean, inside the update file, or rather the well, that's weird. Previous line height. I mean, at least now this actually gets set correctly. But for some reason it doesn't work. If I disable this, yeah, I mean, am I updating the wrong values here? This shouldn't change anything. We are still where we need a sort of line break for test field number 2 here. Hmm. Well, why does this actually get offset so far down? Let's see, in debug mode, probably something that I'm missing here. All right. So let's see, we set it to true. Inside this function here, let's see, okay. So our line height here is 21. We have the same line. Our frame data here. Okay, so we want to increase whatever line we write to. Okay. Let's see. We have still 21. our frame data here. Cursor position. We increase the X. Our frame height is still the same. Okay. We reset this. We enter this. Let's see. Frame data, cursor start position. $300 and something. Well, we reset that back to 5. And then our previous line height. Oh. I know. There we go. That's the bug. That is the bug. Okay. Everything should work as intended now. Except that it almost does, but not. Okay, so for some reason this text field here doesn't get rendered correctly. So let's see. Window, frame data, cursor position, previous line height, 21. No. I didn't feel too much like it any also. Well, that returned false. Why did it return false? Oh, whoops. Ah. Body error? Well, I'm not sure that I know what that means actually. So if we did something like this, where we update this after we've reset the function, but this might just, let's see, mess up the rest of the UI. Whoops. Yeah, everything gets overlaid like that. Okay. So we can't do that. So yeah, this should happen. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we want this to happen outside of the function here. Maybe we want something like, let's close this as well. Yeah, it's fairly easy to do. Well, as you can see here now, it actually gets rendered on the same line, so we only have the line break, or what do you call it, as the problem now. We could also do something outside this scope here. So we could do something like we keep on setting the line height, but then when we end the line, same line function, we could do the resetting. Current window. Y is the floor plus previous line height. We could do something like that, where we update the Y position. Well, that didn't work out terribly well. I mean, that didn't work out terribly well because now our let's see. Inside our current window here, frame data, cursor position, we have a whoops. How come? Oh, not start position, of course. There we go. That's the error. Okay, there we go. Everything is finally in order. So yeah, we basically pulled this logic outside of our actual draw calculation here. So whenever we draw to the same line, we simply and need to store whatever line height we want to add to our draw cursor. Um, we could do a simple if check. If it was lower, then we would increase it in case we had different elements that had different heights. Yeah, we could do that. No, I don't think so. What would you say, Mr. Yes? DirectX12 is probably more similar to Vulkan, since they're the same kind of API. DirectX 11 is probably more like OpenGL. I was asking your opinion on discolored crayons question here. You have worked with almost all the APIs that exist, so all right. Yeah, I thought so too. Okay, so now we can actually write something to the same line. I'm wondering whether the spacing on the text here is maybe a bit too big. Let's try adjusting it. Let's see. As long as the text doesn't get cramped too much together, I'm thinking maybe. I mean, this doesn't look too squished, does it? Let's compare to a regular font here in Paint. So if we do the Georgia font here, test text, I mean, compared to our text, this is way closer. If we do it bold, item number 0. Yeah, it seems like there's a bit too much spacing going on. in terms of the text. Do we want even 4 pixels? Or just... Well, that doesn't look extremely bad, but it doesn't look perfect either, so that might be... Yeah, that sounds like a fairly advanced assignment. But definitely it was a good idea to do it in OpenGL instead of DirectX 12. I mean, the abstractions in OpenGL just makes everything so much easier. I mean, some of the stuff I see people do with OpenGL, it's like the iteration speed is so fast, but yeah, the control is also not that great. Whoops. Okay. Let's see. Everything looks a bit better with this kind of spacing here. I think at least things also fit a bit better. Yeah. I wonder what happens if I set the window color to black. Or maybe just dark gray. Let's see. Draw color. Oh, whoops. Maybe just a very dark gray. That's not dark, but it has too much light. Well, it does make the text a bit more readable. I think the aliasing makes the edges a bit unsharp, but that's probably just the way that bitmap fonts end up working if you're not very concise with your application of them or your um, what do you call it, aspect ratio and screen computations here. Let's see. Okay. I do think the gray background makes it a bit easier to read what's going on here. We could also make it even darker. Yeah, and obviously we need some padding. And I should probably change this kind of text stuff here. Okay. What happens if we add another field to our same line statement here? You too, buddy. Thanks for dropping by. It was nice to hear that your project turned out great in terms of getting the UI up and running and moving on to different projects. Okay, so basically we just need some refinement now because things are now possible to kind of like render to the same area of the screen. Let's just test this, for instance, here. Yeah. So imagine that we have something like this vertex box here, or rather have a text field that is rendered like this. We could try that out. Okay. Let's create a series of text fields in this scope here. We don't need this. We don't need this. We simply want something like X, Y, and then C. X, Y, C. Okay, we have. Let's just write some values. To this buffer here. Okay. So immediately we see a problem in this implementation here. Text field. Field color, field position. Yeah. So everything gets squished together. That is pretty weird. Well, also this is wrong because we should actually do, yeah, we shouldn't do calculations in terms of only the text size. We should also include the field size. So let's see, add vec, and it returns the vec, text size, field size. Yeah. And let's do let's see, digits load. Let's see. Yeah, okay. dot 1f. Well, there are some problems with our calculation of size here. But still, we are getting in the right direction. Let's see, text field. Obviously, the whole area here ends right here because otherwise we wouldn't be starting our drawing immediately after the text field. What is our text buffer size actually? I'd like to see how it interprets that size. Let's see. Okay, so our, what is it? Text buffer size is 3. The const expression. Okay. So actually, because this is not true, we end up going with the text buffer size, which is all right. And we have actually hard-coded this thingy here. We could also just compute a text size of this buffer here. And either go with 25 times the amount of visible characters or the what do you call it? Pre-calculated input size. I mean 25 pixels for a 1 and a dot. It might be a lot, right? Whoops. Let's remove that breakpoint. And also just set this to 15 or something, or 5 or something absurd. Yeah, as you can see here, our text field this doesn't get very wide. If we scale this down, I mean 15 seems to suit everything better. I know the cursor stuff is not great, but also I think that the text size is a bit exaggerated. Do we actually want this? Didn't it seem like everything got a bit better? And maybe the equal sign. There's actually a mistake here. Maybe it's a bug that I hadn't realized before. Well, it's now falling. Yeah, I could do that. That's what I'm contemplating right now. Um, in this function here, I do a unbounded size check. So I could easily apply that. Um, so we could do something like it just takes a pointer to whatever char array we have. So let's see up here where I think I do the calculation itself. I could do something like 20 times this, whoops, 20, and instead of this, I could do calculate text size unbounded, the text buffer here. Whoops, I need the pointer to the font first, and the text buffer, and then we don't care about scaling, and we simply get the X value here. Um, so as you can see now, everything is quite snug, actually. Fits exactly around, even for these ones, it's exactly snug. Um, Also, even if we changed it, well, maybe it doesn't. Yeah, there's still some bugs in terms of the editing itself. I need to fix. Yeah, exactly. Maybe some padding here. We will create a style where we apply padding for every object and do some more uh, nicer looking UI, but I'm just trying to get the basics up and running right now. Okay, the padding isn't great. So whenever we have a larger text buffer, we simply cap to a maximum of 4 visible characters with a approximate width of 20 pixels each. We could test that by simply creating a string here that is super long, and then we get a max size field of something like this. Well, I'm not sure the 20 there. Maybe that should be calculated in terms of the overall font size. Um, let's see. We could just simply try. Uh, can I access font size? Font size. There we go. Let's try that. Well, that looks better if the field is bigger. Yeah, I know the cursor doesn't work at all, but we will fix that. But yeah, I think that works a bit better if the text field is large. Let's go back to our small text fields here and then add some padding. We know that we have less than 4 characters in here. Did I delete the padding again? I probably did. Okay, 15 pixels of padding, maybe. Well, that looks decent. And of course, some margins inside the text box will also be needed. But yeah, I'll fix that. That's just generalized improvements. So, um, so add some UI style system with colors for text, buttons, hovering, and padding, plus margins for text fields. Overall, yeah. But that's just creating a struct somewhere in the UI that it can reference and that it can set upon initialization. So that's not too bad. And simply add the values here and there. I mean the text uh, uh, position here would just be manipulated to be indented a bit according to the padding or the margins of whatever text field we're drawing. So it should be. Hello, buddy. How are you doing? I do feel like there's a lot of spacing between these text fields here. Also, you can see it down here. Um, they aren't as closely grouped together as you might like. It might relate to the unbounded text sizes here. Line height. Because I think the buttons and the stuff that we otherwise do doesn't use the unbounded ones. Calculate text size. Well, it actually does. Yeah, that's the same function, of course. Okay, so it's not that issue. Uh, Now I know why. It's because we actually add the two y values together, meaning that we potentially double the y spacing. So we could do something like uh, yeah, if I had operator overloading, it would be fairly easy, but we could instantiate another temporary or just pass a temporary here back to mm, mm, simply pass it the what do we specify? Text size y. Yeah, so we use the text size y anyway. So the text size dot x here plus the field size dot x is the one parameter, and then our text size dot y here is actually our second parameter. for this constructor. There we go. So now everything is snug again. So yeah, it definitely looks a bit better. So next thing is to actually fix the cursor stuff here, where we calculate the cursor position in a weird, non-helpful way. I also think that the text color for our labels should be white. I was only rendering them black because I needed to do some testing. Oh, the field text color. Let's see. Where do I queue up the cursor color? Where do I do the call draw text window? Let's see, I have the input polling. There we go. Display text label color. Okay. And float 4. Field text color. And that should be, that could be black at least. There we go. So that's way better. Okay, so now we can actually create sort of a group here where we can set some X, Y, and Z's. We can do processing on them inside our editor logic here, as we did with the other text fields. We just use the same buffer and add some logic to it. Yeah. All right. So, since the actual coupling of the level editor here to our actual transforms is something that I'll probably do tomorrow, I won't be looking into that. Maybe if I throw a quick glance on the cursor, calculation stuff, maybe maybe I can. Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking that the way that the X offset here maybe I want to cache a series of X advances. Also inside most of my other stuff here, I actually do add or rather subtract something from this value here. Times 1. That is the scale factor. Let's see. Careful. Could be scaled text. Look above. All right. So That looks a bit better, but it's still not great. Also, I think, whoops, I might have changed something on the stream. No, everything is still fine. Okay. The problem could be that, or rather, I don't think the way I calculate the cursor positioning is that robust. I would rather create some small buffer. I mean, the X offset, it even adds in non-visible characters. So for instance, if we have some very, very long string as before here, um, you might see that I can show whatever was in the buffer here, but in reality, this should work where we know that we can only have um, um, a total of 4 characters visible. We have a cursor that can be offset into the string buffer itself, meaning that either we are kind of like either the cursor is here no matter what character is the first and we only show 4 characters, or either the cursor is at the second character's position, the third character's position, the fourth character's position, but never beyond that. So we simply need to, for some reason, this is, yeah, after the third. So this is actually position 0, 1, 2, and wait a minute. Position 0, 1, 2, and 3. But if we delete a character, the buffer is smaller, so therefore um, we end up in a different situation. Okay. The cursor can only have position 0, 1, 2, 3. Position 0 is never offset. Position 1 is only offset by the visible first character width. Let's see. Let's just print this. And if I add a very large text here, yeah, we never overflow. Welcome back, buddy. But this actually extends a bit too far. So let's do -1 here. Huh? Oh yeah, of course. And also let's do only if the cursor position is about 0, we do this. Otherwise we don't care. What do you have in mind? Okay, this is not working correctly. Anyway. Yeah, I am happy it's weekend. My girlfriend is really tired, so am I, so yeah, we're just gonna do some stuff and chill, but yeah, she and I will probably be going to bed early today, so I figured I might as well just do some streaming while I still have a bit of energy for it, and then I can go to bed. Yeah, I've been talking about the missus for quite some time. I thought you knew by now. Okay. Fair enough. Well, it's my girlfriend. Let's see. All right, so when we have an cursor that is offset, when it's 1, we only want to add let's print our displayed text buffer. Let's try doing that. Oh yeah. So it won't work. Let's see. So this should actually fire as well. So but for some reason the maybe it's just adding white spaces. Maybe it doesn't. No, let's see. Uh, I don't think I need to debug this. Text buffer, text buffer. Let's see. For some reason it's empty. Let's see. I'm trying to correct some um, cursor mistakes here. As you can see here, my cursor in my text field here doesn't get computed correctly. But it doesn't seem like I set my display text correctly, so I think it's just right now displaying just white spaces. Yeah, it seems like it's just displaying white spaces. So let's see, where do I actually compute it? Well, I nullify it up here, so that makes sense that it's not displaying anything. Maybe maybe I forgot to set it somewhere. Yeah, I probably just forgot to set it somewhere. Do I set it down here? Maybe this should actually be done before. It probably should. Uh, it probably should. I think it should be done right here. And the cursor already behaves exactly like it should. The only problem is that when we're not the active function here, we aren't actually running that. So we kind of like need some other check. Well, this is kind of awkward. I mean, we could do one mem copy and then overwrite. I'm not sure that is faster. It probably isn't. It probably isn't. So this depends on actually writing something to the display text buffer here, so we can offset our cursor, but it's not set right now. It's getting set after all this, and it's getting set no matter what kind of like state we're in. We could also do some kind of like, well, I think, well, we could also just initialize this as whatever value and then override it. But then, man, that's rough. Yeah, we could be in a situation where we do a mem copy and then another mem copy. It's a bit wasteful to do it twice, but is it less wasteful to do some if statement? Well, let's see, this is just logic resetting if we're in an active state or not. And this shouldn't get rendered whenever we press enter, but it won't. Hmm. We could just simply move this logic here and do another if p context active handle equals handle. We do something like this, and our cursor position is calculated up here. We could do something like that. Now that works perfectly, huh? I mean, that just looks beautiful. But the mem copy doesn't get handled very correctly anymore. Does it? Maybe that. Maybe it doesn't care actually. Oh yeah, I know why. It's because we're not storing the value anywhere, so it gets reset every frame. Every frame it gets reset, unlike up here where we actually store it on some value. Okay. So everything seems like it's working as intended. It definitely got way cleaner. I'm spamming the right key right now, and I can't move any further. And the cursor just renders perfectly. Great stuff. All there is left to do is some style work where this gets a bit prettier. Let's see. That's pretty great. And as I've mentioned, I'll couple this to the actual level editor tomorrow. Okay. So we need to do a basic check here. Let's do a bounce check. Sooner rather than later, but not at this exact moment. No, I just got done with a lot of nice adjustments, so Yeah. Okay, let's see. So we do another if check here. If our mouse position is inside some context on the UI, let's see our UI here. We could do, is this the helper functions? These are just functions. They're inside the UI namespace. We could, well, we do have something like rex overlap is mouse over rect. Yeah, we actually do some polling. Uh, well, would we prefer to create a simple function that just returns this on the context thingy? I mean, the context itself gets created with the parameters right here. We could also create a function. All right. All right, all right, all right. We will do something like um, a scroll press, rex overlap, checks. Well, this is definitely a check. Is mouse over? Well, the problem is that we would rather actually check whether it's over the window because, well, or would we? I mean, there are some different options. We could check whether we're over a button, over a text field, over the entire window, or the entire context. So if we ever add a header to the context itself, I don't know. I don't do push-ups. I'm more like a dumbbell kind of guy. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Let's see. Do we use a lot of CPU time? No, it's not too bad. Okay, so what was I thinking? I was thinking about, oh yeah, the checks. So we could check whether we are over the context, but that could contain a header. I guess you could calculate that together with the window and add it to the window itself, meaning that if we wanted to decide whether we were on something that was active, we could check a window. Mm, Also, did yeah, we did move the thing here to after when we record our first window. So it would make sense that we actually created a function here for mouse over window. And let's do a mouse position reference. Oh, we don't reference the input system, do we? Oh, maybe we do. Key state, mouse position should have one called that. Oh, I just can't spell. And then we would like something like a const. Window pointer, window. Maybe we're allowed to access the window. Clip rect. Yeah. Let's see, do we have this mouse over rect? Well, we simply do something like this, but and we ask for the window. I think it's the clip rect. Maybe it's just the outer rect actually. There we go. Whoops. I of course need to huh? Oh, maybe I need to include it up here. Yeah, let's move it then. I only included it here, but I will include it here instead. All right. Let's see. Everything compiled, but we have of course not implemented it yet. So if let's see, is inside, what did we call it actually? We call it mouse over window. And we can pass in our mouse position here because we already got it. And edit a context current window. If it's not over it, we will do our grab in here. Else we will just print it to the console. Can't pick that stupid. And leave ourselves a nice message if we mess up. Or rather not mess up, but okay, so when I click here, I get the nice little message and nothing gets picked. But if I click here, we're fine. And then I'm back to actually getting the message. Okay. So now we don't have trouble whenever we edit our stuff here. We can click our editor and don't worry about whatever we want to change here. What a nice mesh. Seems like a floor. And let's select something else. Wow, that's beautiful. Whoops, the jumping mechanics are a bit messy. Whoops, that's the wrong button here. Okay, let's change the material. Oh, that's the wrong one then. Is it? Yeah, it was. Oh, it's the material. I would rather not say, but I'm really tall. All right. Whenever I press enter here, does it? Yeah, it actually then. Okay. Well, that's great. Everything seems pretty neat this far. Um, what else did we decide to do? Yeah, we still need to fix that handle calculation stuff. We fixed this bug here. That's great. We actually added this as well. Yeah, I actually think that most of the mandatory UI work here got fixed. And yeah, the CPU is using some calculation time on the what do you call it, UI, but that's just the way it is. It might also be a bit of the PDB stuff going on with Visual Studio. Let's see what happens if we simply run the program. I also need to update these shaders on our build here. Fonts and shaders have changed. So let me try. So this is without the Visual Studio Code. It probably runs a bit more stable and a bit faster. Yeah, it seems like it's. It seems like it. Anyway, that's pretty great. So now we actually only need to implement this move, scale, rotate function in terms of the level editor. It needs to compute a transform matrix whenever we update one of our fields. So for instance, inside our level system here, let's close this because we're not gonna edit it. This is for the mesh and material editing. So whenever we press return on any of this stuff here, we need to update the X, Y, and Z components, but also recalculate a matrix from that info. So we will do that tomorrow, also because it requires some math implementations. Like we did up here, maybe that's not the one. This is the one. So we update the mesh and data like that, and we pass it to the renderer. If we're in that situation, we should, instead of updating the static object, we should update the static constant buffer underlying the specific object. Yeah, I'm starting to think so because I actually achieved all of the goals for the stream today. I fixed some bugs. I added the ability of doing same line content. I fixed the text field editor a bit. I actually, as an added bonus, fixed the cursor logic, which turned out pretty neatly. Let's see. Let me just clean up this. Yeah, I've also been at work all day, and it's been quite busy. Whoops, did I delete the bracket? Yeah, I did. Yeah. So I think that this is really great. So tomorrow we'll be working on these parts of the level editor, getting them done, and maybe I want to add that gizmo thingy and then a saving solution, and then the level editor should actually be done, at least without the dynamic objects and so forth. But yeah, I think we need a different pipeline, at least for the dynamic objects implemented. Yeah, and there's also a major refactor in terms of object creation pending. I want to rewrite the component system a bit. Thank you very much, buddy. Thank you for dropping by. It was nice having you here. Yeah. Let me see how long have I been streaming. A couple of hours. Do any of you guys watching along have any questions, comments, or anything that uh, we need to discuss, or are you guys just hanging out, seeing what all of this is about? Well, you must just be hanging out. Anyway, if anyone watching this in the future, or either or even today found any of this content helpful, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe, or uh, in whatever way you feel appropriate, support this channel. I'll be back streaming tomorrow, where we will work on that pesky level editor that I've been wanting to do for quite some time, and I think we will finally get it done, which means that we can do something more interesting, or at least I feel like UI work is not the most interesting stuff to do, but you kind of need to do it in order to be able to create tools for your application. So yeah, it needed to be done. All right. Anyway, I think that was it. Thanks for watching. Please stay healthy and take care of yourselves. Hopefully I'll be